Well, hello everyone. I love that Sarah has officially changed her name to Sarah with the blue dress. Love it. So yeah, happy Christmas and happy 2024 everyone. I hope 2024 brings you all that you want and all you deserve. So as you guys are obviously aware, this may be a rather spicy one, this live. um to overstate the obvious. And this is obviously going to be, I guess, our response to, I don't know what to call it, Natasha's reaction to a few messages back and forth with us. It was in demand, Sarah. Everyone refers to you as Sarah with the blue dress. You're one of the few people that's had the same avatar for a while. You have to respect that. Just looking back here, hey everyone that's come in that have came in prior to this. Hey Diane, a curious rose. Hey, not seen you for a while. There's Jenny and Pink. Hey Kiss. Yeah, for anyone that doesn't have a clue, that doesn't have an idea what's going on here, it may be for the best. But I guess a lot of people will. So, hey Harley. So, hey Lizzie. So I guess what's at perhaps the root of this is there seems to be a discrepancy between an understanding of what friendship means or should mean. Oh, cool, Diane. Yeah, Lizzie. Yeah. So, yeah, this is, people have to believe this, right? This is a live I wanted to avoid, but I have been left with no choice. I have to tell you something, guys, and don't take offense, everyone, because what 99% of you in here are female, right? But it's funny when you think about it because aren't men at a serious disadvantage here? Bloody women. Aren't women goddamn geniuses when it comes to interpersonal dynamics? The strategizing, some might say the manipulation. The planning on the chessboard that is human drama. At the risk of sounding like a raving misogynist, I promise I'm not. But let's be honest, men are just not equipped for these complications, right? Basically, we just want to eat good burgers, drive fast cars, and chase pretty women. Isn't that pretty much it? We're pretty simple on the whole. We are the weaker gender, I think, when it comes to operating within this soap opera of human drama. Not all women. You're correct, Diane. It goes without saying that there's an obvious disclaimer that this is intentionally an overriding generalization, right? Um, I don't think I'm a typical male. I happen to be fascinated in human drama, in the human condition. So I'm atypical in that regard. Lucky for me that I'm here. There are a few drama kings around, I'm sure. There's always outliers that prove the rule. Men are simple creatures, very easily manipulated. Indeed, indeed. But not all, I guess. Sarah, do you think women tend to be more conniving? I just think they're better at it. If you think, without getting too over the top here, if you think back to historical times when we lived in caves and roamed the prairies looking for food, what were men's priorities back then? Because believe it or not, guys, once upon a time, I know it's in vogue these days to steer away from the differences between the genders. That's supposed to be, you know, venturing on political incorrectness, but that's just bullshit. Obviously, right? Back in caveman times, all men had to think about was where the next meal was coming from or which tribe they had to kill to protect their own tribe. That's why men are great with things like geography. That's why men are stronger physically. What were, on the whole, females' jobs back then? You know, when you used to have 25 kids to protect the tribe at home, to make sure the food that was collected by the men was divvied up and cooked. So, what did women have to occupy their time back then? Gossip. Men didn't have time to think about that shit. So, all I'm saying is that females, through evolution, are better at um, interpersonal dynamics. And what I'm really saying is, I guess, they're more skilled at, let's say, weaving a narrative that's very self serving when the facts just won't do, if you catch my drift. Kindness Kate says, my grandma said, a vicious woman is far more vicious than a vicious man. Yeah, see, men will just have a fight, a fist fight. One will win and then they'll shake hands and go for a beer. Women are more capable of planning a rather more torturous demise for their enemies. We all know it, guys, right? 25 kids, don't think he was thinking about dinner. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, exactly. I agree, Steel Magnolia, not all women. Crafty loves a grudge. Well, see, as I said earlier, I'm a little atypical because I'm fascinated by all this stuff, so I'm here for it. I like my coffee strong and my men weak. You should put that on a t-shirt. Okay, so what am I really talking about? Okay, um, so anyone that's aware of the affiliation, I guess, I've had with Natasha for a while, I guess we were becoming friendly and stuff, and it was great fun being on her panel and things. But um, people might have noticed that I wasn't around as much over the last month or so. And I obviously, the main issue was um, not just the fact that she had decided to go after Diane, who everyone knows I'm good friends with, and this is important that people understand this. It's not just that she decided to go after Diane. It's the fact that I fundamentally disagreed entirely with her reasons for doing it. And that was a problem. Um, Diane is someone I've been friends with for a long time, who I care about, and who I will fucking defend if I need to. But obviously, it was a rather impossible position I was in with Natasha, right? So I tried to stay away from it. And to be fair to Natasha, like I said in her messages, in our messages back and forth, which I noticed conveniently you didn't tell your people, I acknowledged this to you, right? That I respect the fact that you don't want to um, put me in a tough position when I'm on panel, right? Since 2019, yeah. But, and this might get to the discrepancy between our understanding of friendship. I think it's important between friends for them to know when one disagrees with the other. And like I told you, I'm not gonna bullshit you. I specifically gave you my reasons and told you this is where I'm at. Cool, Bridget. It's for the best, Suzanne. But what you also didn't tell your people was how difficult this was for me. And I was aware that you are under siege at the moment. And the last thing I wanted to do was to add any pressure to you in that regard. But I have no choice but to tell you this. Nowhere in the messages did I say, I'm done with you. I will never be on your panel. I'm ending a friendship. So I don't know why you wanted to give that impression. And I certainly wasn't aware that there was a clock ticking down whereby I had 24 hours. And I think it's understandable. I knew you were going to be upset by this, Natasha. I think you are genuinely upset with it. I get it. and you obviously were going to have to say something about it. I didn't expect you to say nothing about it because people would notice I'm not there, so that's fine. But there's a big difference between that and giving such a self-serving interpretation of a paraphrase of what was actually said. I would actually rather you just showed them the comments and let them decide for themselves and let them decide if I was disrespecting the friendship. And I've noticed, and to be fair, I wasn't dragged on the surface by by Natasha, right? But there was an obvious attempt to portray the situation to serve yourself. That here, yet again, poor Natasha has been stabbed in the back. And it's just bullshit and it's annoying. And yeah, so, and to be fair, I wasn't dragged in Natasha's chat either, but it was pretty goddamn surprising to see some people's instant judgment on the situation. And like I put in my community post, if anyone over there is confused or needs anything explained to them, then come in here and ask. Rosebud, you need to be specific. What do you mean Diane is not what you said? What is it that I said about Diane that's not true? Sully says she got mad when you chose Diane over her. She always makes people choose. Well, this is the thing, and this is the irony in all this. It's Natasha that's decided that this friendship with me is over, which is fine. You know, I mean, if that's if that's her interpretation of as much as 24 hours without a reply leads her to, then I guess it's for the best. But does anyone not think Natasha needs to understand that other people have friends? And this whole nonsense narrative that Rabid um, is not standing up for Natasha out of some kind of weakness or something like that. I mean, if it was to do with weakness, would it, how much easier would it have been to do what Natasha clearly wanted, which was for me to just shut the fuck up and try and just jog along? Well, if the type of friend that you want or expect is someone that's not going to give you their opinion when they disagree with you, that is going to not say something when you're attacking one of their friends when they think it's unjustified, then I'm not the friend for you. I wouldn't want a friend like that. That's for damn sure. GA, no one stands up for Natasha because they can't handle the backlash or the sub loss. I've already lost subs through this. I knew I was going to lose subs through this. I don't care. Natasha seems to think that everyone is obsessed, as obsessed with numbers as she seems to be. Token, she would tell you to shut the fuck up if that's what she thought. What do you mean? Who was it that asked about? Oh, Rosebud. Did you get back to me about your problem with what I said about Diane? It's up in the chat. Diane said on her live the other day that you chose. Did you choose? Yeah, I know Diane said that, but like I said, it's it's not as black and white as that, right? Obviously, um, like I said, I will defend Diane. But it was also bullshit why she was going after Diane, and I can get into that. That was really what I had a problem with. She just doesn't like that fact, right? Kelly, uh, Natasha has stood up for numerous creators, but who has stood up for her? Okay, well, let's just think about that, right? So, I guess you might be talking about Randy, right? So, Natasha stood up for Randy because, and went after Diane because she was so horrified on Randy's behalf because of what Randy had gone through, right? I guess that was the reason. But of course, the problem was that obviously Natasha didn't know enough about the situation with Diane Randy. I mean, I'm sure she might have been getting Randy's side of things to some degree, but she just didn't know enough about the situation, and Diane did not say a single word about Natasha, I'm afraid, on her live. I know Sin did say a few things, and there was a few things in chat, but you can't have it both ways, right? You can't be no fucks given, I'm going to tear your head off kind of creator and expect other creators to redact any comments, any critical comments about you. It's just ridiculous. But if Natasha was that horrified on Randy's behalf of because of what she went through, then has that is that just gone away then? Is it why is it okay now to pretty badly deride Randy publicly? You know, if she is what you were saying she is, weak, and how dare Diane and Sin say what they say in the light of what Randy had gone through, but it's okay for you to destroy her character, your apparent friend. Like, how does that make sense? Rosebud. Well, Rabid, you were in those chats at NCs as well. Either the Sin thing and on panel giving your 2 cents, sort of speak. You'll have to be specific, Rosebud. The Sin thing is kind of complicated for me. I've said some judgmental things about Sin. I know that, right? Which I'm kind of This was on the basis of what we heard from Bam, okay, which was very believable. But Sin is not some cartoon uh, criminal figure, right? When people like Starlight and Diane and Randy seem to really care for her and are supporting her, I pay attention to that. There's obviously a whole lot more to the story than us guys are aware of, right? You can't just ignore that. No, no, I've never heard NC call Randy weak. Are you actually serious? What? Okay, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to show a comment that someone left me. Jillybear Diane, respectfully, your chat the night about Sin was 90% about NC and little about Sin until Sin insinuated NC was somehow to blame for her and Randy's friendships breaking up. Um, okay, a couple of things there, Jilly. Um, I was in that chat. There were certainly critical things said about Natasha, but it was not 90% about Natasha. Sorry. And what Sin said was nothing that bad. I mean, I have to be honest, I disagreed with what Sin said. I don't think um, Randy and Wendy were somehow trying to drop Sin because of Natasha. I didn't agree with that. But you really think that merited the response against Sin and obviously Diane? And Jilly, did Natasha tell you that when she was referring to my messages that I acknowledged that to Natasha in our messages? That I agreed with her on that point? No, she didn't, did she? Well, calm in the chaos. When Rabbit gets fired up, people listen. I'm yeah, and this whole thing about people are so disappointed and Rabbit and Natasha is so disappointed. What are you actually disappointed in? As far as I can see, I told her the truth from my point of view, and she's decided that Bad Rabbit is not able to be the friend to Natasha that Natasha expects. Sarah, Rabbit, so you didn't ghost her for 24 hours. Is it even possible to ghost someone for 24 hours? The truth is, um, she kind of pissed me off with what she said in her last comment. Basically trying to suggest that I wasn't being adult enough to not keep my friendship with Diane out of the situation with Natasha, which was kind of absurd to me because I think the adult thing to do is to be honest about how you feel in private about something like that. So I just didn't feel like replying. And now that I know I was on a clock, then I'm glad I didn't reply. You just had to go out there and paraphrase this to your own convenience. Starlight, hey. Jellybear, you should really stop stalking people in chats and then run to other chats with misinformation. You said I'm pro gypsy, that I think Nick should rot in jail. No, ma'am. Okay, I'm just gonna. Okay, Jelly, you're in chat right now. You sent me a comment earlier on my community post. If you don't mind, I'd like to show it. And this is not to pick on you at all, but I think your comment's interesting to me, right? Because I think it's a genuine comment, and I think what you're saying is interesting because it's quite representative of what a few people over there are assuming. You don't have to leave, Jilly. D- Jilly, you do mind? You don't want me to show it? Okay, well, I don't know why you posted it publicly then if you, because I'm not want to show it to drag you, Jilly. I just think you've got a few things wrong that would be helpful for me to point out because I don't think your opinion is alone over there. Yeah, Steel Magnolia. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I'm not going to show Jilly's comment, but I'm going to read it to myself here to remind myself of some of the what's confusing about this. I think to some people. Yeah, because you said that you don't think Natasha came down too hard on Diane, all things considered, over the last few weeks. How about Diane, since she doesn't really even know Natasha either? Just stay out of that mess. um, wow. You don't think that perhaps Natasha over inserted herself into that without understanding the long history there between those guys? Because anyone that's been around, okay, knows that Randy, Diane, Wendy, and Starlight go back a long, long way. And obviously, there's problems over the last year or so, right? But that does not mean that they don't care for each other, right? And I think it's just unhelpful and rather clumsy to just weigh in on that because an opportunity strikes. It's potentially quite damaging. And you're saying that you don't understand how Natasha seems to get blamed for literally everything that went wrong between Randy and Sin, Starlight, Randy, and Diane. Yet she's somehow supposed to ignore the fact that chats are slandering non-stop during the Diane Sin video. Slandering, huh? Um, well, how do you feel about Natasha calling Diane a trash bag or a scumbag when she doesn't even know her? Is that okay? And then you say, the irony here. And then you say about Sin insinuating that the fallout between those two was because of NC, and that Diane, that Diane person, who none of us, including Natasha, knew hardly anything about who she even is. That's kind of the point. And then you say, considering Natasha has always been 100% respectful of all your guests that you've had up on panels in the past, and will gracefully disengage and leave without commenting in your chats when things seem awkward or uncomfortable, because she specifically did not want to be in any way a disruption to your channel nor your panels. Well, I don't know if you were not around, Jilly, but when I had when I was about to stream a conversation with Bam and another creator, why did Natasha feel the need to come in and tell everyone how much she did not trust this other person? Why did she have to come in and announce that and then announce that she was leaving and then do the same, regardless of what anyone thinks about Jura? But she did the same with Jura. How many times did she come into my channel, like 10 minutes into my stream, jump up on panel and tell everyone how excited she was that she was about to go live? And I'm the bad one because I told Natasha in private that I didn't agree with her about something. Rosebud. So, Rabbit, question: how do you feel about Starlight upcoming live aimed at trashing Natasha? None of those folks were around for something of what Starlight is describing her life to be about. See, here's the problem. Let's just wait and see what Starlight has to say on that, right? Kindness King. No one is blaming NC, just holding her accountable for her meddling. She should respond with grown-up sentences rather than resort to her usual name calling. It's boring and gross, Natasha. Yeah, Starlight says Rabbit doesn't have to approve of my content. I do what I want on my channel. There you go. There's your answer. Has anyone got any specific question? Joe Elliott. Has anyone got any specific questions? I may have missed some of you guys. I want anyone over there that's confused about what went on to ask me. Kindness matters. Natasha might be knocked down temporarily, but she always lands on her feet. This too shall pass. I don't, like I said, this is not a live I wanted to do, but she kind of forced my hand, right? Because what she said was just totally unfair. And I'm not going to allow that. And I do hope that she stays on her feet. There's just a bit of a problem with perceptions, I think. Rosebud. Well, okay, I can do that, and then we can speak of it then. I mean, I want to know how you feel about bashing behavior done to Natasha versus Starlight or Diane. Okay, what is it that Starlight is supposed to have actually said in the Discord? Because I've never heard that being referred to specifically. Discord is separate from YouTube for a reason, right? It's somewhere to have a more private conversation. But like people keep saying Starlight was bashing Natasha. What was Starlight actually saying? Sarah says, "There's one thing that stands out to me. Natasha states she trusts no one, that no one is her friend on YouTube, but then states all she did was be a friend to Randy, Rabid, and Hello Starlight. Make sense? You keep telling everyone, and this is even before a lot of this happened, that you do not trust a single other YouTube creator on YouTube, that no one is your friend." I don't know. I just get a feeling um, that what you describe as being a friend is basically a general sense of someone being in the bag, right? That, yeah, they're mine, they're on my team. Sweet Iris says, no, it wasn't rabid. Natasha was hurting. Her community was hurt bad also. I know she was hurting, right? I knew she was going to be hurt with what I said. But what was the alternative? But Rosebud, what you need to be specific about what the bashing is. I always get the impression you did not agree either with the bashing or others. Does that still hold true? Starlight says, I don't need Natasha for numbers. I have almost 23,000 subs. Oh no. Yeah, this whole thing about numbers is so. Oh, I'm so sick of hearing it. There are other. Number one, do you really think the only thing that is of worth is the actual quantity of people in your chat? It's about the quality of people in your chat. Lake Breezes says, Rabbit, how did she force your hand? Because she didn't read out your private messages. Why should she? In the meantime, she sees everyone dogpiling on her when it was not her fault to begin with. Okay, well, this all began because she inserted herself into the thing by bringing up Diane when she knew nothing really about the situation with Diane, um, as far as I can tell. At least there was not enough there going on in that chat from either Sin or from chat that merited Diane being called what she was called by Natasha. How did she force your hand? Well, she forced my hand because I know she didn't read out the private messages, but she gave a narrative that was false, that was very, very self-serving. So this is why I'm here to give the other perspective. It started with Randy, period. I don't know why on earth Randy, well, let's just say there might have been a misjudgment there by Randy, okay? Randy was absolutely right to apologize to Starlight, and she meant it. I guess Randy was upset with Starlight about something, and she made a mistake by contacting Natasha. I don't know if Randy would be happy with Natasha making it public, though, like that. But people need to remember that these guys go back a long way. Sarah, Starlight is spreading rumors and lies. What rumors and lies? Empress Brandy, I think you two should talk in private. I hate to see this friendship ruined over this shit. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to. If Natasha wants me to explain what I'm explaining here, then yeah, fine. Well, Rosebud, I don't know what went on there with that situation, um, regarding Gypsy Rose. I don't know what went on there. If Starlight's making shit up, then I guess that's bashing, right? Calm and Chaos. Why isn't Natasha here, by the way? Doesn't she usually show up? Um, Good question, yeah. Yeah. Sweet Iris is rabid because too many people have hurt her bad. This is why I wanted to avoid this, Irish. I promise you. Video killed the radio star. Rabid, did you or do you still regard Natasha as a friend? Did you ever? Because there seems to be some pent up frustrations. There's no pent up frustrations. There's a frustration at her choosing to give an extremely self serving narrative without reason. Um, yeah, I would consider us friends at a certain level. We didn't speak a whole bunch. Um, and I would always have supported Natasha if I believed she was worth supporting or the point she was making was worth supporting. Sarah, why isn't she allowed to be hurt and express that? Yeah, but she went further than that, though, Sarah. That's the problem. Um, she was a little devious in how she paraphrased things. Rosebud, Rabid, look at the picture she's advertising as her upcoming live Starlight. Is that not bashing? Rosebud, you have to you have to consider the kind of photoshops that Natasha's maybe put out there about other creators though, right? I thought I thought that was Natasha's whole gig. A will token, yeah. A will. Sarah says, I saw people dogpiling on Rabid when she said he had hurt her feelings. Sweet Irish says, Diana should never have talked about Natasha. Diana's a stalker. What? Natasha? Diana didn't talk about Natasha. What are you talking about? Oh God, I'm way behind here. Crystal, I remember when Natasha took up for you. Where was Diane? Took up for me in what regard? In what situation? Where was Diane? Like, I think people think that just because Diane wasn't doing lives, that she wasn't on YouTube, that people didn't still talk to her, that she didn't still have people that cared about her, that would have her back. I don't know if Natasha just assumed that because Diane wasn't around as much, that, yeah, I can just call her what the hell I like, and I'll have no comeback from it. But there's unfortunately consequences. Oh, I'm fine, S Hocket. I'm hanging in there all right. But I do know she was hurt, Sarah. I'm not saying that. Because she was hurt doesn't give her the right to concoct a narrative. Well, Rosebud, I don't know if I can come over during true crime because Natasha has decided that the friendship's over, so you need to ask her about that. Kindness Cake, look at the clips Natasha has made of BBT and Deb. They're deliberately horrid and offensive, and the one of Nat from CA, no need for that level of grossness, but Natasha is fine with it. You know, it's funny. I mean, I certainly showed you more respect, Natasha, with during the situation than I did to say BBT. That's that's something that I feel a certain kind of way about. Rosebud, we were happy to be there for you, Rabid, when BBT and Dorothy ran those lies about you. Oh my God. Just think about what you're saying, Rosebud. Would it be not would you not be there for anyone if someone was legit lying about someone? Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. She had your back, so you owe her. Wow. Lord, Rabid, I believe this needs to be taken in private with Natasha. I'm really disappointed with all of it. I do wish you well. Well, it's Natasha that took it out of the private sphere, unfortunately, not me. But Jay, you're just going to have to go and ask Natasha to show you the messages, right? You cannot claim that I did not take her feelings into consideration. She just is choosing not to make you aware of that. If I had a disrespect for my friendship with Natasha, don't you think I would have been on every channel possible dragging Natasha? Has anyone seen me do that? Jay, I took up for Diane. I took up for Diane because I've been a friend with Diane for a long time. I care about Diane, but crucially, I also believed what Natasha did to Diane was wrong, fundamentally wrong. It wasn't a case of choosing one friend for an older friend. More complicated than that. Okay, so I think Natasha has already just shared my comments, apparently. Hold on. According to Jay. So she's already shown you the comments. Okay, well, can someone tell her to just put them on her channel somewhere so that people can judge for themselves? That'd be helpful. Token, Rabid, do you want to be her friend? Um, I don't know, Token, anymore, to be honest. Okay, Jay. Okay. All right. Okay, Jay. She never shared them. You just seen them. Okay. And well, tell me, do you not think that I was respectful to her in those comments? That I acknowledged how difficult this was for both me and for her? Lake breezes. What she did was stand up for Randy, for Diane, having a panel when Randy was not well. She was standing up for a friend, just as she did for you against Dorothy and BBT. Um, y y well, yeah, I mean, she was definitely backing me up when I was ever on a panel with her talking about it. But I don't remember Natasha doing any lives specifically to stand up for me. But see, just think it through though, right? If Natasha was that outraged because of Randy, because of what Randy was going through, then why would she be so demeaning to her when things went wrong there? How does that work? Kit Kat Rabbit, I'm so disappointed that you let this silly speak like this in your chat. Well, there's a hell of a lot of people in here. I can't catch exactly what everyone is saying. Is Sully saying anything outrageous? Ash. Rosebud, Rabbit, that is not true. We all were listening to Dot slander you and getting the word out through lives that none of it was true. Okay, yeah, I do acknowledge that, right? Of course I appreciate that. But you also have to understand that all I've actually done is give Natasha my opinion in private because there was no alternative. Okay, I didn't end a friendship. I didn't go and drag Natasha. This situation, if you think about it, has come about because Natasha spoke about this publicly in a way that just where I have to respond. Rabbit, she is calling us trash. Who is? Who is Laura? And see, I just have a different way of um, I very rarely remove comments. My mods know that I very rarely want comments to be removed. It has to be pretty extreme. There's gonna be critical shit in comments regardless. And I just don't believe in this trend of over censoring. I just don't. I just have a different outlook from maybe some people. Diane says, Jay, do you know why? I never put Rabbit in any kind of situation like this. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. See, I've also seen it said here and there that, Diane's behind all this. Um, this is entirely through my own motivations. I can slow the chat, Carly, but I'm way too um, out of the loop with having to do that. Don't mess with Jamie May. She's sick with COVID, guys. Marcy Claire, did you end your friendship with Boston because of Natasha? No, no. I think BBT's been saying that, but I know it might have come across like that because um, the friendship between Natasha and BBT and me and BBT kind of went downhill around about the same time, but that's got nothing to do with Natasha. Um, it's something separate from that. But yeah. It's not about being too sensitive, rosebuds. Actually pretty pissed off, to be honest. It's not about being sensitive, and I think it's something that needs to be spoken about because this shit happens. Right, Helen, yeah. Yeah, sorry guys, we just don't remove comments much here. Not your mama says. I mean, she isn't. Why isn't anything ever Natasha's fault? Rabbit didn't even do anything wrong. Yeah, you wouldn't think that though, would you? Give me a sec, guys. Yeah, I said that earlier, Sarah. No one bashed me in Natasha's chat. I'm aware of that, right? But there was some very extreme judgments um, being made, which was due to an intentional um, maneuver, let's say. Thing is, Sunshine Madness, it's not just Natasha's perspective that matters, unfortunately. I know that might be hard for Natasha to understand. But what did Diane's chat do to Natasha, Jay? Do you really expect Diane, who had no affiliation with Natasha whatsoever? I think she only spoke to her one time on my channel. Do you really expect her to be censoring any mention of Natasha? So it's okay for Natasha to take it public, but they are asking Rabid to take it private. That's how it seems to me. Yeah, come on. Yeah, Ash. Come on, you can't expect that. You can't have it both ways. You can't be all badass and no fucks given, and then expect critical comments to be censored all over the place. How Sin didn't start it, Irish. Come on. Yeah, I know I didn't do anything wrong, Mama. But I'd like to get more specific questions from some of you guys over there because there's probably a few things we've not addressed. I've been with Natasha for 3 years. She has never told me I can go anywhere. I do what I want when I want. But she's got a problem with Starlight being a mod for Randy and has a problem with certain people being seen in other channels. That seems quite a regular thing, Jamie. Hybrid. Yeah, we're going to be getting back to crime very soon, believe me. Thanks, kindness cake. Okay, Peach. Okay, I don't agree with that, Rabbit. I think she does understand. I think both your feelings got hurt. I think both should talk privately. The lives isn't doing anyone any good. Well, it could have easily been avoided, Peach. To be fair, if Natasha had been fair. Calamity says, I think Natasha's funny, does true crime better than many, and and find her channel for the most part interesting. Don't like so much the dragging of creators, but this is my personal opinion. Yeah, Natasha and I had a pretty we had some good laughs, right? For sure. Kindness Cake. So, Rabid, please may I ask if you had reservations about Natasha prior to the last month or so? I sensed a distance in several months ago, reading the room et al. Um, the short answer is yes. There's certain things that become unavoidable to your attention that, number one, you don't want to presume or believe. But when you're friends with someone, there's this natural tendency to want to force yourself to avoid. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, I, th- I hear you, hybrid, but I think it goes beyond mere this. Who's talking about Diane stalking? Like, who's saying this? Like, are people just picking words out of the ether here? Like, where's that coming from? Hey, Lark. Is it the Lark? Token, why are we bringing up CJ? Is CJ in chat? Yeah, CJ that's in chat is not Country Joe, for anyone that's confused. Yeah, Marcy, that's just utterly ridiculous. Hey, Welsh lady. Okay, Peach. Video says, I am surprised BBT isn't in here getting her pound of flesh like everyone else. This live, the longer it goes on, Rabid, will ruin any chance of sorting things out. Well, if BBT is having fun at all this shit show, then I think we can give her that one, right? Um, I don't know, Mama. Hybrid. I've decided that it's dangerous to get too close to anyone here. Friendships on YouTube have to be all in or all out, and I'll never be that for anyone. I know it can appear that way at times when there's um fallouts between creators on YouTube that are quite high profile. It can seem that way, but my experience is a bit different. I mean, I've met people through YouTube that I could not trust more, that I would call real friends. And I mean friends in the real sense of the word, the kind of friends that don't have a problem disagreeing with you or stuff like that. Video Rabid, I have known of you since you stood up for Bron Moxley. I I really am surprised you took this live because I thought you would sort it privately. Um, Video, did you miss the beginning of this whole live? This is the problem. I tried to keep this private, but Natasha's decision to curate a narrative to cast Rabid as the bad boy um had to be responded to. Video. Yeah, calm in the chaos. They can be. Yeah, I did stand up for Bron Moxley. It's a shame that he's never come back, to be honest. He was a good guy, Bron. It's sad what happened there. Exactly, hybrid. Yeah, tread carefully. Starlight, Natasha took this stuff with Rabid public. He can't respond. Yeah, that's what it seems to me, Starlight. I mean, I understand that she would be upset and would have to say something because Rabid's not around, but she didn't have to contort this narrative. You just need to go back and listen to it, Lake. It's kind of obvious, to be fair, because it bears no relation to the actual private conversation that she gave out there. Maybe not the best time, Token. Not the best timing for spanking. Sarah, it's amazing how twisted the situation has become. One, NC brought it public, and this about confronting a false narrative. Now everything but the kitchen sink is being thrown in. But Sherry, okay, so Sherry says Starlight. Seriously, she wasn't disrespectful towards Rabbit, but you have to pay attention. And I know it's maybe difficult because you don't know what I said. So for all you know, she's just given a fair representation. You know that I was basically saying, you know what, fuck you, I'm out of here. Um, I and this is another thing she said. I'm upset. I was upset the way she went at Diane. Well, you can characterize it as being upset if you want, but I just fundamentally disagreed with it. I thought it was bullshit, you know. But I had the respect to tell her this privately, you know. I didn't come on her panel and confront her about it. I was aware of the bad timing. I'm aware that she's been under siege recently, and I expressed all this to her. But yeah, you have to pay attention because what she was attempting to do, I guess now that you've heard me relate my perspective, you should be more aware of the fact that it was a clever attempt to cast the situation in a certain light to serve herself, and it's not on. Diane says, I'm amazed that these followers of Natasha have also formed a not true narrative about me. I am not shocked though. Yeah, well, I was reading out a comment earlier from someone that um, is upset with me who was saying that none of them over there know who you are. Natasha doesn't know who you are. That's kind of exactly the problem, right? I was not included in that baseball, no. Here's the thing about Natasha crying. I mean, I wanna believe it was genuine, but if it was genuine, I think it was more crying for herself than this close friendship that had gone to shit. Sorry. Sherry says, Rabid, what did you say she went after Diane too hard? They went after Natasha first. Diane did not go after Natasha, Sherry. It didn't happen. There was a few critical comments in the chat, and Sin made a claim that she thought that Randy and Wendy wanted to get rid of Sin because of their friendship to Natasha, which I said at the time was I didn't agree with that. And I said that to Natasha in her recent comments, but Diane did not go after Natasha. Just didn't happen. And again, there's going to be critical comments. You can't expect a creator, especially a creator that has no affiliation with you, to censor critical comments in a chat. It's ridiculous. Oh, I'm sure, Lacey. I'm sure. Sorry, Jennifer. Um, I can't be deleting comments. Sorry. Yeah, calm in the chaos. Maybe people can learn from critical comments. Protected us. My real name's out there, but I have nothing to worry about, so it's all good. Stop postponing your stream, Diane, for the love of God. Yeah, I just noticed there a minute ago actually that Diane has a live scheduled. I'm gonna. I don't really have much more to say on this. Or let me put it another way. I don't want to say anything I'll regret. YouTube's not a safe space, people. You're going to see comments you don't like. I've certainly had my fair share. Thanks, Kindness Cake. You're welcome, Token. Ask yourself why that is, though, video. Well, I enjoyed being on panel too, video, but I'm sorry, I'm not going to be the kind of friend that has to shut the fuck up to be determined to be someone that has your back or something. It's just not me. Hey, Veronica. YouTube isn't real. Well, it is real, but I take your point. It's that's all that happened. Calm in the chaos was honesty, and if Natasha was just honest with her people and with herself, she just didn't like it. It's what it boils down to. But it's still no excuse to curate a narrative. Um, Starlight says then maybe she doesn't need to watch people's chats if she gets hurt so easily by comments that don't align with her. Sarah, does anyone really believe NC was going to say what she had to say and leave it at that, really? She expected no response? Of course, she's back to counter views, drama equals dollars. Yeah, if anyone is under the impression that I had no right to respond to that, then I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. No, you can't, Suzanne. You cannot please everyone. Kindness Cake says, hey, lots of people have issues with Natasha for obvious reasons. It's fine. Folk are allowed to. All this NC white knighting is embarrassing. Very true, Sarah. All right, I'm going to end this now, guys. Like like I said earlier, I didn't want to really do this, but I kind of had to, and it is what it is. Wherever the cookie crumbles, so be it. Yep, Diane. Yep. All right, guys. Happy New Year to everyone. Should be fun. Thanks, Sarah. Okay, guys. Have a good night. I'm sure there'll be more drama around the corner, and I shall see you there. Okay, good night.